At least where my mind is.
That's what I mean. Running backs go quick. Wide receivers go a little bit slower. So, it's super important to make sure you have somewhat of a strategy, but you're able to be flexible if certain players go. Now I'm coming back here. I'm at the 403 spot, and I'm looking at players like Juju Smith-Schuster, Jonathan Taylor, Amari Cooper, Cooper Kupp. Calvin Ridley is prone for a breakout. He is the player that's prone to do the Chris Godwin role this year. Yes, he's playing alongside Julio Jones, but Calvin Ridley has proven it over and over again. He's a touchdown machine, 10 touchdowns in his first year, 7 last year in only 13 games. Calvin Ridley is an absolute beast. So I love Calvin Ridley here, but I'm going to go one spot lower. I'm grabbing the player that is the number one wide receiver on this team. He will not come back to me. I cannot let him go. When the Rams switched to the 12 formation last year, which is one running back, 2 tight ends, when Tyler Higbee absolutely busted the barn doors off and everybody's going to be hot and bothered about him, Robert Woods was on the field over 90% of the time. Cooper Kupp was not. Robert Woods is the number one wide receiver in this offense. He catches the ball. He is the perfect person for me in the fourth round. I'm happy to have him as my wide receiver 1. He's more of a safety pick, but I'm okay with that.
Well, and I would even go as far as anyone should be happy to have Robert Woods on their team. That's always, especially when you're looking for likely having a third receiver on your team. Robert Woods should be a name that you would want on there. But as it swings back to me, I'm seeing, a few more wide receivers going. Juju is gone. Calvin Ridley, as you mentioned. A.J. Brown on Tennessee is no longer there. And then a couple more running backs. So as I said, I got to really button up that position because I need to make sure I also have running backs on the bench come bye weeks and, have some talent there. So I am looking to pass on Cooper Kupp for the next 2 rounds. DK Metcalf, DJ Shark is there, and Tyler Lockett. So some good names out there, including Zach Ertz. But as we know, I fulfilled that tight end spot. I'm feeling pretty good about that. So do I go for, would you look at a rookie right now? There's got to be a lot of hype around rookie running backs, especially as they will likely still exist in another round because they are going to be a gamble. For someone with just one running back, I'm going to have to take someone with a little more consistency. Does that go to Mark Ingram or like a Devin Singletary? I like Singletary the way he was producing last year, so I'm going to pick him up out in Buffalo. Hopefully for another good season.
Yeah, he started off a little slow last year, obviously with Franco in front of him, and they drafted Zach Moss, so it could be a little bit murky, but he certainly should be the starter coming into the year. And if he plays like he did last year, should be no problem holding on to that job, at least for this year.
Now, I'm going to go against your own advice, Eric, and I'm in this moment. I see a name I haven't really thought of much, but then the light bulb came on. Raheem Mostert. He's got some talent. The guy can get the job done. What's going on out there in San Francisco, though? You think they'll start him?
Just like last year. I mean, that backfield is murky. There's talent there. Jerick McKinnon's coming off his injury again. Who knows what he's going to be? He hasn't played in 2 years, but he is someone that signed with them for big money a couple years ago. Tevin Coleman's still there. I mean, you have Raheem Mostert. Jeff Wilson's going to be a big goal line guy. You don't necessarily know who Kyle Shanahan's going with. You know that someone's going to be successful in a certain game. It's, do you want to play the game of me rolling the dice and checking it to see if it's going to be him? Now, Raheem Mostert had, blew it out in the playoffs last year coming down the stretch. I don't mind the pick right here to kind of shore it up, to give you a little bit more consistency in that role. I think, this is the time where if you wait any longer to get someone like a Raheem Mostert, you're going to be in trouble with, what's coming down the line and dealing with someone like DeAndre Swift, rookie running backs that don't necessarily have clear roles in their offense. So I like the pick. I think it's a solid choice.
Well, I'm going to go against that. But, if it were, a real draft, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to throw out a name, Cam Akers, looking at a couple of rookies that are on the board. It's dropping about 10 more picks. Maybe there's some value there. Also looking at, though, overall my bye weeks, he fits the slot for me, going along with my other running backs that I know I can trade out.
Yeah, I don't mind Cam Akers there either. It's a little bit of a murky situation to start, but I think that eventually he's going to break out, and he's going to be the one that's going to win the job by the end of the year. A couple other players that went: Keenan Allen, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. I was really hoping Tyler Lockett would fall to me here at this spot. But there's a player that I see that I'm absolutely in love with, and do you know who it is?
It's it's not Mixon, because that's the only guy you're really in love with. Let's see. It wouldn't be a quarterback. It's too soon for a quarterback. No. I was going to say T.Y. Hilton or Zach Ertz.
I love T.Y. Hilton. I went to FIU. I went to school at the same time T.Y. Hilton did. I saw him play in college. I love T.Y. Hilton. I love the upgrade for him that Phillip Rivers is going to throw the ball a ton. They have the best offensive line in football right now. T.Y. Hilton, if he's healthy, is a steal here in the 10th round. Yep. But I'm going to go with a little bit more upside. I want a little bit more boom to my safety blanket of Robert Woods. And that boom is Scary Terry McLaurin. And this dude was an absolute monster last year. And I love what he was able to do in Washington. Even with Dwayne Haskins, yes, it fell off a little bit, but they've had some time to reconnect. And I love what he was able to do for me last year when I picked him up. And sure enough, it comes back around on the turn. Cortland Sutton, A.J. Green. I don't love that pick in the 5th round. I got burned by him last year, and that was terrible. Yeah. But T.Y. Hilton fell to me here.
There you go.
So I'm looking at T.Y. Hilton. I'm looking at a player like Dak Prescott, who was a number 2 overall quarterback last year. He's never finished outside the top 10. Including his rookie year as a quarterback. We're looking at a tight end like Darren Waller. Do we want Marquise Hollywood Brown, Stephon Diggs, Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson?
Names. Yeah.
Are some of the players that are right there. I can't pass on T.Y. Hilton right here. This is going to lock up pretty much my starting lineup for my receivers with Robert Woods, Terry McLaurin, and Mr. T.Y. Hilton.
Okay. A couple other QBs immediately fall. That's Kyler Murray and Dak Prescott, who to be honest, if Kyler was still on the board for me at this pick, I was going to grab him. I'm keeping a closer eye on the quarterbacks at this rate because I'm still seeing names, though, like Drew Brees, Matt Ryan, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen are still in there, and then Deshaun Watson is on the board. So, yeah, there's a lot of talent, of course, but I am at least keeping an eye on who's there, and that will...
But I get it.
To be honest, that will give an effect on me, and make me think.
If a player like Kyler fell to me at your spot at 6'10", I would definitely consider Kyler Murray there. The upside for Kyler Murray is tremendous, so I would have certainly considered him at the 6'10" spot where you're at.
I'm not super excited about the wide receiver options that I'm facing right now. Outside of, there's Brandon Cooks, and who would you go for?
I see one that I love. You're not going to like the pick.
Near the top is Will Fuller for me, but
I'm too concerned about injury for him because year in and year out. And same with Brandon Cooks. Someone in Houston's going to do the job, but I'm not sure who it's going to be because all of them are injury-plagued wide receivers. Year in and year out, Brandon Cooks has concussion issues. Year in and year out, Will Fuller can't stop his hamstring from doing something to him and causing some problems. I think the player here, and this player, if this team did not draft a wide receiver first in the first round of the draft this year, this wide receiver would be talked about the same way that Chris Godwin was last year, the same way that Calvin Ridley is this year. It's Michael Gallup of the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay, I kind of figured that.
This team throws the ball. This player is a fantastic player. When he was healthy, he was just as good as Amari Cooper. Look at the numbers.
Yeah, 200 points
just
last
as
year.
Good. Mm-hmm. Now, given one's making $100 million, and that is Amari Cooper, and so he's clearly the number one. But Michael Gallup is a great wide receiver. You can look at him. His reception perception is off the charts. He's fantastic. He's a steal here, I think, for you. He's the only wide receiver I would truly consider.
Yeah, and I'm going to sit on it. I'm going to wait the additional 4 picks and see the receivers.
Sure.
Just none of them are really doing it for me.
I think you could wait on him and grab something else that you may be interested in.
Yeah, which I'm looking at running back. That's James White. Or, I do have Deshaun Watson, who, but then you still got other guys. So I'm a little bit of at a loss. This is always a tougher pick for me because it's an important one. It's kind of a swing pick on, who is really setting you up. You know what? I do see a name that I'm willing to take a risk on. New quarterback in the system, but it could work. I think Julian Edelman.
Yeah, Julian Edelman's a great slot receiver. If it's Cam Newton there, which he is projected to be the starter, I like Julian Edelman. And look who fell to you.
There you go.
There at the next pick. I love it for you. Michael Gallup is a solid player right there. Now it came back to me. And so here's what I got. I got Joe Mixon, Nick Chubb, Leonard Fournette, Robert Woods, Terry McLaurin, T.Y. Hilton. So I went 3 running back, 3 wide receiver. Let's take a look and see who is on this board. We got quarterbacks like Drew Brees, Matt Ryan, Tom Brady. Aaron Rodgers is still available. Josh Allen is still available. I don't know how. He's a running quarterback, so I can see it. So I mean, there's a couple of those guys still out there. I kind of like it, but I'm still eyeing someone a little bit later. Excuse me, and I think I can get it.
Yeah,
taking a look at some of those.
I think that's Matt Stafford is what you're looking at, right? Or Roethlisberger.
I'd be more than willing to draft either of those late rounds.
Yep.
And if I have to scramble to find a quarterback, I'd be more than happy and willing to find a quarterback. There are every year over the last 5 years, there's been 40 plus quarterbacks that have had a wide receiver 1. Now there's 32 teams in the NFL. That tells you that there's 8 more quarterbacks out there that got starting roles that were able to get a week 1 top 12 fantasy performance for you. It's just picking those weeks. So it can be done. So
you got to put the work in.
Excuse me. Yes, you do. Now I'm looking at, hey, do I want to get another running back here? There's one that I really love that's a rookie. There's players like Matt Breida, Phillip Lindsay, Tevin Coleman. There's a couple rookies, Antonio Gibson of the Washington Redskins, Zach Moss of the Buffalo Bills. I kind of like both of those players. We have some other players out there in wide receiver land. There's one that I love, and I think I found who I'm going with, but players like Tyler Boyd, Jarvis Landry, Marvin Jones is someone that can really take the top off for me. I think he's a solid pick as well. But for me, it's going to be Deontay Johnson out of Pittsburgh. I love what this guy is going to potentially be able to do, and I've already gotten some security within my wide receiver. This is where I'm going to try and take a home run swing, and I'm going to go for Deontay Johnson. Couple other players coming off the board: Matt Ryan, Tyler Boyd, Jarvis Landry, Antonio Gibson. I was kind of hoping he might fall back to me here and kind of see what we can do here. So some of the other players here, do I want something a little bit more security blanket wise, and someone like a Jamison Crowder being drafted in the 8th round? I think it's a little early for him. We got Matt Breida, Phillip Lindsay, Tariq Cohen, Tevin Coleman, Zach Moss, and then some quarterbacks still on the board: Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, Carson Wentz. And then I haven't even looked at tight ends yet. I know who I'm eyeing towards.
Your team is stacked on 2 positions.
Yeah, and that's fine. You have to start multiples at those positions. You have to have depth at those positions.
True.
Versus tight end and quarterback, you only have to start 1. And so you can be a lot more flexible with being able to take something a little bit late. But we have Tyler Higbee, Hunter Henry, Jared Cook, Noah Fant. I'm not crazy about either of these guys here. The margin between tight end 6 and tight end 12 is so excuse me. It's so minuscule. It doesn't really matter. So I'm going to take my shot. I'm going to add another running back here. I'm going to add Zach Moss because I think eventually he may dispel your boy, Devin Singletary.
Interesting. Okay. Well, where I'm at is, I don't really have to go through it. If Drew Brees was still on the board, I was going to take him. And then I thought, well, I already have Alvin Kamara, and that means both those guys will be out in a single week, and I would be, kind of putting too many eggs in one basket on that one. I do see, though, one of my favorite guys in the league to watch is Tariq Cohen. He's available. I don't know if I do it because he's had some injury late last season, and just don't know if that's going to happen. However, another New Orleans player that I was a big fan of while he was in Denver, Emmanuel Sanders. I love the guy. I don't know how involved he is going to be, but I think he's a good plug and play if he's having a great year. So I've seen what he can do. I got the trust there. I'm going to take him over, someone like Aaron Rodgers that's still on there, or Tevin Coleman. And Tariq Cohen did go along with Tom Brady, Jalen Reagor, and Tevin Coleman. So what am I left with? It might be QB time. Let's see who's there. Josh Allen, Carson Wentz, Matt Stafford, Cam Newton, Daniel Jones, Ben Roethlisberger, Baker Mayfield. Man, a lot of good names there still.